Hey there you lot, welcome back to Fat Glenn's Fish. Been a couple of weeks since I've dropped an update video. There's been a lot going on, not just with fish but with life, so bit of a mess here. I will talk you through how I'm tracking with it all on the other side. See you soon. Alright, let's kick it off with where I'm tracking. I don't know whether anyone's watching. I'm filming a series on a big renovation project that I'm doing with replacing a rack out in the shed, and unfortunately the wet weather we've been having has really stalled me. I've got some crappy rain happening. I've got some tanks here that I'm in the process of renovating, 4 tanks, but unfortunately it's raining every day, so I can't do any silicone work with any great success because you want dry tanks for that. Henry, it's wet, mate. Oh, lovely. Thanks for watching. All right, let's head out to the shed, which is my how the fish room gets called in my situation. Yeah, this weather's really giving me the shits, if I'm honest. I've got this carpet laid out here on the retaining wall in readiness for bringing some of the tanks out of the shed, and I've sort of held off on that because it's been raining so much that because some of the tanks are going back into the shed, I don't want to take them out and have the paint that's on the back getting wet. This is the rack we're bringing out. There's 14 tanks in this rack. Currently I've got 10 of them, all the habitat out and water out. Some have still got sand in the bottom, which I've got to scoop out. Because this whole rack has to come out. I've got 4 tanks left to go with fish. 2 out of 4 are easy, where they're mouth brooding types, so I won't be picking for babies. This one here's got babies throughout, which is going to be a problem. Little substrate spawning style of thing, so that's going to be a fair bit of work, and that's what I'll probably get onto after this. It's such a shit show currently because all the fish that were in these tanks have got to go somewhere, and just for a bit of fun, this tank down the bottom here, which was nothing to do with the project, just randomly cracked on me earlier in the week, and I didn't notice it because it's down in this lowest corner of my shed where the water does drain from. And I sometimes don't feed my fish on the weekends, so I came in at the end of Sunday to find a bit of a stuffy smell, and I thought it was humidity because of all these open tanks here, but it started to smell like dead fish. And when I had a good look around, I found this tank completely dry and dead bodies everywhere. And I was a bit flat because a couple of the species in there were not going to be hard to replace, but one certainly was, and luckily the one that was, I had stripped some fry from, and I had them in one of these new fry boxes that I've put in, which are just a modified Tupperware box with uplift and drainage, and they float on the polystyrene. And it wasn't until after I'd sort of cracked the sads and I was inside watching footy thinking I'll just deal with that whole tank tomorrow that I realised that I had one of these baskets in the tank, and it had sort of settled on top of the rocks. And when I decided to come check, I was pretty lucky to come out and find a number of little babies left that were all down in one corner of the box in probably 35 mil of water. There was 18 little baby Victorian cichlids, the species 44, that were going to be hard to source. So at least I've still got some, which ironically, if I'd have had them in the Zis box, they'd have been gone too, because those Zis boxes don't retain any water through the base. So this design did kind of luck out for me. The sad thing about having to do this build right now is that I've got so many nice fish breeding that I just don't know that I'm going to miss out on some opportunities, because I'm too busy trying to get these tanks replaced before a disaster comes along. We've bred some, the Batoni in here have fired back up, so we've got lots of females holding again. And what's been really exciting, and bear in mind these tanks are looking terrible because I'm dropping in my sponge filters from the tanks behind me to keep them wet, and so I've just got crap jammed in tanks everywhere. But what has happened is that our Firecrest group has fired up, and I suspect that we're spawning today with the massive cold front that we're on. This pair here I think is doing the deed, which is really cool. And there are definitely 2 or 3 others that have been holding for most of the week, so this is one I really want to keep my eye on, because these are obviously a significant Malawi species that are going to be worth some dollary-doos to me. Thanks to Bill for the opportunity, that's for sure. We've got frontos to deal with in here, as always. They've been breeding really nice, but I've dumped some more fish in that wouldn't normally be sitting in here. We've got Furcifer and all sorts going on now. I'm just trying to find my not sure about this barracuda up here, might be holding too, so that's kind of exciting. What I'm desperately worried about, the big grow out tanks here that I'm normally just raising fish for on sell are now holding the great majority of these fish that I've moved. These couple of tanks here are 500 litres, so there's good volume there, but we've certainly squeezed some participants in. We've got our Silver Streak colony in here with Nevachromis and Julies and Elongatus. I've got a few new fish in recently that I'll probably talk about another day, because they're very exciting, but I can't get a good film of them in here. And down the bottom we've dropped our other Ventralis, the Chatutas, and we've got a Tropheus colony in here, and we've got Monathachromis, and we've got other Julies, some Goldhead comps. There's just a huge mismatch of fish down here. Thankfully, I think because it's a big tank and there's plenty of fish in here now, it's not going too bad. Like, that's what I think is a pair of Elongatus here. Oh yeah, and we've got the Sex Fasciatus golds underneath too, which are kind of big, but hopefully everyone's kind of chill and zen in there, so we're just fingers crossed that I can get this work done in a week or so and start putting them back in their new setups, which is just something I can't wait for, out out of all this is going to be a great chance to sort of revisit some breeding projects. And sometimes you don't realise, like I've handled a lot of these fish in the net this week as a result of moving them, and you realise that a few fish are a bit lighter on for condition than you would like, and it's no wonder they haven't been breeding, and that just comes back to some TLC. So hopefully we get everybody moved across and get them fat and happy and off to breeding. This side also is, you know, I'm accommodating my OB peacock colonies sort of jammed in, and they'll hang on all right in these tanks, which are 100 litres of water, but there's not much margin for error in terms of water changes, and if a filter stops or whatever, it's a heavy load. So a little bit white knuckle this week with where I'm at, and can't wait to get this bloody job done. So I'm going to get back to a bit of work on that now, and I'll drop some more footage. Should have another episode up in the next week or so on the progress with that rack rebuild. And if it's keeping you entertained, I hope you can watch those and check back in with me in a couple of weeks for the next one. Thanks for watching. See you soon.